Spider-Man: No Way Home is a 2021 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Spider-Man, co-produced by Columbia Pictures and Marvel Studios, and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. It is the sequel to Spider-Man: Homecoming, 2017, and Spider-Man: Far From Home, 2019, and the 27th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. The film was directed by John Watts and written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. It stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker / Spider-Man alongside Zendaya, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jacob Batalon, Jon Favreau, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Benedict Wong, Tony Revolori, Marisa Tomei, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire. In the film, Parker asks Dr. Stephen Strange, Cumberbatch, to use magic to make his identity as Spider-Man a secret again after it was revealed to the world at the end of Far From Home. When the spell goes wrong because of Parker's actions, the multiverse is broken open and several visitors from alternate realities are brought into Parker's universe. A third MCU Spider-Man film was planned during the production of Homecoming in 2017. Negotiations between Sony and Marvel Studios to alter their deal in which they produce the Spider-Man films together ended with Marvel Studios leaving the project in August 2019. But a negative fan reaction led to a new deal between the companies a month later. Watts, McKenna, Summers, and Holland were set to return, and filming took place from October 2020 to March 2021 in New York City and Atlanta. No Way Home serves as a crossover between the MCU and the previous Spider-Man films directed by Sam Raimi and Mark Webb. Several actors reprised their roles from those films, including previous Spider-Man actors Maguire and Garfield. The pair's involvement was the subject of wide speculation and numerous leaks despite Sony, Marvel, and the cast's efforts to conceal their involvement until the film's release. Spider-Man: No Way Home premiered at the Fox Village Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, on December 13, 2021, and was theatrically released in the United States on December 17, as part of Phase 4 of the MCU. The film received positive reviews from critics and grossed $1.921 billion worldwide, surpassing its predecessor as the highest-grossing film released by Sony Pictures. It became the highest-grossing film of 2021, the sixth highest-grossing film at the time of its release, the highest-grossing Spider-Man film, and set several other box office records, including those for films released during the COVID-19 pandemic. The film received a nomination for Best Visual Effects at the 94th Academy Awards, among numerous other accolades. An extended version of the film, subtitled The More Fun Stuff version, had a global theatrical release in September 2022. An additional film trilogy with Holland is planned, beginning with Spider-Man: Brand New Day, which is scheduled for release in July 2026. Plot: after Quentin Beck frames Peter Parker for his murder and reveals that Peter is Spider-Man, the Department of Damage Control arrests Peter, his girlfriend, Michelle MJ Jones Watson, his best friend, Ned Leeds, and his aunt, May Parker. Lawyer Matt Murdock gets Peter's charges dropped, but the group grapples with negative publicity. After Peter's, MJ's, and Ned's MIT applications are rejected, Peter goes to the New York sanctum to ask Dr. Stephen Strange for help. Strange starts casting a spell that would make everyone forget Peter is Spider-Man, but it is corrupted when Peter repeatedly requests alterations to let his loved ones retain their memories. Strange contains the corrupted spell. At Strange's suggestion, Peter tries to convince an MIT administrator to reconsider MJ's and Ned's applications. He is attacked by Otto Octavius, who rips nanotechnology from Peter's iron spider suit. This bonds with Octavius's mechanical tentacles and allows Peter to control them. As Norman Osborn arrives and attacks, Strange teleports Peter back to the sanctum and locks Octavius in a cell next to Kurt Connors. Strange explains that the corrupted spell summoned people from other universes within the multiverse who know Spider-Man's identity. He orders Peter, MJ, and Ned to find and capture the others. They locate and retrieve Max Dillon and Flint Marko at a military research facility. Osborn reclaims control of himself from his split Green Goblin personality and destroys the Goblin mask. He gets help from May until Peter retrieves him. While discussing their battles with Spider-Man, Osborn, Octavius, and Dillon realize they were pulled from their universes just before their deaths. B. Strange prepares to reverse the contained spell and send the villains back to their respective universes, but Peter argues that they should first help each villain to possibly change their fates upon their return. When Strange refuses, Peter steals the spell, traps Strange in the mirror dimension, and takes the villains to Happy Hogan's apartment. He uses Stark Industries technology to cure Octavius. Before Peter can cure anyone else, the Goblin persona retakes control of Osborn. The Goblin convinces the other villains to betray Peter and fatally wounds May as Dylan, Marco, and Connor's escape. Before she dies, May tells Peter that with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Ned discovers that he can create portals using Strange's sling ring, which he and MJ use to try to locate Peter. They instead find Peter 2 and Peter 3, alternate versions of Peter who were also summoned from the villains' universes by Strange's spell. The group finds this universe's Peter, Peter 1, who is mourning May and ready to send the villains home to die. The alternate Peters share stories of losing Uncle Ben and Gwen Stacy and encourage Peter 1 to fight in May's honor. The three Peters develop cures for the villains and lure them to the Statue of Liberty. Peter 1 and Peter 2 cure Connors and Marco while Octavius helps cure Dylan. Ned accidentally frees Strange from the mirror dimension. The Goblin unleashes the contained spell, breaking the barriers between universes and pulling in countless others who know Peter's identity. Strange attempts to hold them off while an enraged Peter 1 tries to kill the Goblin. Peter 2 stops him and Peter 3 helps Peter 1 inject the Goblin with his cure, restoring Osborn's sanity. Peter 1 realizes that the only way to protect the multiverse is to erase himself from everyone's memory and requests Strange do so while promising MJ and Ned that he will find them and remind them who he is. Strange reluctantly casts the spell, and everyone returns to their respective universes including Eddie Broxy who unknowingly leaves behind a piece of the Venom symbiote. 2 weeks later, Peter visits MJ to reintroduce himself to her and Ned, but decides against it. While mourning at May's grave, he has a conversation with an unknowing Hogan and is inspired to carry on, making a new Spider-Man suit and resuming his vigilantism. Cast: Tobey Maguire, top, and Andrew Garfield, bottom, return as their respective versions of Spider-Man from previous film franchises. Their involvement was kept secret by Marvel and Sony despite fan speculation and leaks before the film's premiere. Tom Holland as Peter Parker/Spider-Man. A teenager and Avenger who received spider-like abilities after being bitten by a radioactive spider. 4. The film explores the fallout of Spider-Man, Far From Home's 2019 mid-credits scene, in which Parker's identity as Spider-Man is exposed. 5. And Parker is more pessimistic in contrast to previous Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, films. Holland said Parker feels defeated and insecure and was excited to explore the darker side of the character. 6. The adjustment back to portraying Parker, including raising his voice pitch and returning to the mindset of a naive, charming teenager, was strange for Holland after taking on more mature roles such as in Cherry, 2021. 7. Zendaya as Michelle MJ Jones Watson, Parker's classmate and girlfriend. 8, 9, 10. The character's full name is revealed in the film, having previously just been known as Michelle Jones, bringing her closer to the comics counterpart Mary Jane Watson. 9. Benedict Cumberbatch as Dr. Stephen Strange, a neurosurgeon who became a master of the mystic arts following a career-ending car accident. 11, 12. Holland felt Strange was not a mentor to Parker, unlike Tony Stark in Spider-Man: Homecoming, 2017, but instead saw them as colleagues and noted their relationship breaks down throughout the course of the film. 13. Cumberbatch felt there was a close relationship between Strange and Parker because both are neighborhood superheroes with a shared history. 14. Co-writer Chris McKenna described Strange as the voice of reason in the film. 15. Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds, Parker's best friend. 16. 9. Batalon lost 102 pounds, 46 kilograms, for his role in this film. 17. Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan, the head of security for Stark Industries and former driver and bodyguard of Tony Stark, who looks after Parker. 18. Jamie Foxx as Max Dillon/Electro. An Oscorp electrical engineer from an alternate reality who gained electric powers after an accident involving genetically modified electric eels. 1619 The character was redesigned for No Way Home, foregoing his original blue Ultimate Marvel-based design from Mark Webb's The Amazing Spider-Man 2, 2014, in favor of a yellow one more similar to his mainstream comic book appearance. 20. Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn/Green Goblin. A scientist and the CEO of Oscorp from an alternate reality who tested an unstable strength enhancer on himself. He developed an insane split personality as a result and uses advanced Oscorp armor and equipment. 21 Dafoe felt Green Goblin had advanced from his portrayal in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, 2002, and had a few more tricks up his sleeves in this film. 22 Dafoe was digitally de-aged for the role. 23 And the character also obtains upgrades to his costume to make him more closely resemble his comic book counterpart. 22. Alfred Molina as Otto Octavius/Dr. Octopus. A scientist from an alternate reality with 4 artificially intelligent mechanical tentacles fused to his body after an accident. 24 The film continues from the character's story prior to his death in Raimi's Spider-Man 2, 2004. Molina was surprised by this approach because he had aged in the years since he made that film. Digital de-aging was also used to make him look physically the same as in Spider-Man 2. 25 The mechanical tentacles were created completely through CGI, rather than blending them with puppetry as in Spider-Man 2. 26-23. Benedict Wong as Wong, Strange's mentor and friend who became the new Sorcerer Supreme during Strange's absence in the blip. 27-18. Tony Revolori as Eugene Flash Thompson, Parker's classmate and former rival. 28. Marissa Tomei as May Parker, Parker's aunt. 29 While developing the story, the writers realized that May would play a role similar to Uncle Ben's role in other incarnations of Spider-Man. As such, the thematic, and often paraphrasingly quoted idiom "with great power, there must also come great responsibility" is said by May, since she has been the moral guide for Parker in the MCU. 30. Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker/Spider-Man. An alternate version of Parker who is haunted by his failure to save his deceased girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, during the events of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. 31 30 32 33 The other Spider-Men refer to him as Peter 3,34 while Marvel's official website named him The Amazing Spider-Man. 35 Garfield embraced his role as the middle brother of the group and was interested in exploring the idea of a tortured Parker following the events of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, including how lessons from those events could be passed to Holland's character. 30 He was grateful for the chance to tie up some loose ends for his incarnation of Parker, and described working with Holland and Maguire as an opportunity to have deeper conversations about our experiences with the character. 36 Parker ends up saving MJ during the climax in a similar way to how he fails to save Stacy in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. McKenna and co-writer Eric Summers credited director John Watts for coming up with the idea while they watched a pre-visualization reel showcasing ideas for the climactic battle. 15. Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker/Spider-Man. An alternate version of Parker who uses organic webbing instead of web shooters like his alternate counterparts. 37 32 33 The other Spider-Men refer to him as Peter 2,34 while Marvel's official website named him the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. 35 Maguire wanted the film to reveal only minimal details about what happened to his character after the events of Raimi's Spider-Man 3, 2007. 30. Rhys Ifans reprises his role as Dr. Kurt Connors/Lizard, an Oscorp scientist from Webb's The Amazing Spider-Man, 2012, who transformed into a large reptilian monster while trying to regrow his missing arm. Thomas Hayden Church reprises his role as Flint Marko/Sandman, a small-time thief from Spider-Man 3 who received an ability to transform into sand. 21 Both Evans and Church returned to voice the characters, though footage at the end of the film when they revert to their human forms was archival footage from The Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man 3, respectively. 38 Watts served as a stand-in for Church on set by providing motion capture reference to the uncredited body double who physically replaced Church in the role. 39 Charlie Cox reprises his role as Matt Murdock from Marvel Television's Netflix series 40 and Tom Hardy reprises his roles as Eddie Brock/Venom from Sony's Spider-Man universe, Sue, in an uncredited cameo appearance in the mid-credits scene. 41. Reprising their roles from previous MCU Spider-Man films are Angourie Rice as Betty Brant, Parker's classmate, and Ned's ex-girlfriend. 42 Hannibal Buress as Coach Wilson, Midtown School of Science and Technology's gym teacher. 43 Martin Starr as Roger Harrington, Parker's academic decathlon teacher. 44 J.B. Smoove as Julius Dell, Parker's teacher. 45 J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, the host of the Daily Bugle. 46 47 and Gary Weeks as Department of Damage Control, DODC, Agent Foster. 48 Jake Gyllenhaal appears as Quentin Beck/Mysterio via archival footage from Far From Home. 49 Also appearing in the film are Paula Newsome as an MIT administrator. 44 Arian Moaid as DODC agent Cleary. 49 Mary Rivera as Ned's grandmother. 44 and Cristo Fernandez as a bartender serving Brock. 41 Tom Holland's brother Harry Holland was set to make a cameo as a thief, but his scenes were cut from the original theatrical release. 50 Lexi Rabe, who portrayed Stark's daughter Morgan in the film Avengers: Endgame, 2019, also had an appearance that was not included in the theatrical release. 51. Production. Development. Lead actor Tom Holland and director John Watts in 2016. During production on the film Spider-Man: Homecoming, 2017, 2 sequels were being planned by Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures. 52 In June 2017, star Tom Holland explained that each film would take place during a different year of high school for Peter Parker/Spider-Man, with the third being set during the character's senior year. 53 Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige noted in July 2019 that the third film would feature a Peter Parker story that has never been done before on film due to the ending of the second film, Spider-Man: Far From Home, 2019, which publicly reveals that Parker is Spider-Man. 54. Development on third and fourth MCU Spider-Man films had begun by August 2019, with Sony hoping Holland and director John Watts would return for both. 55 Holland was contracted to return for one more film, while Watts had completed his 2-film deal and would need to sign on for any more films. 56-57 By then, Marvel Studios and its parent company the Walt Disney Studios had spent several months discussing expanding their deal with Sony. The existing deal had Marvel and Feige produce the Spider-Man films for Sony and receive 5% of their revenue. Sony wanted to expand the deal to include more films while keeping the same terms of the original agreement. Disney expressed concern with Feige's workload producing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, franchise already and asked for a 25 to 50% stake in any future films Feige produced for Sony. 55 58 57 Unable to come to an agreement, Sony announced that it would be moving forward on the next Spider-Man film without Feige or Marvel's involvement. Their statement acknowledged that this could change in the future, thanked Feige for his work on the first 2 films, and said they appreciated the path Feige has helped put us on, which we will continue. 58. Chris McKenna and Eric Summers were writing the screenplay for the third film by the time of Sony's announcement, after also doing so for Far From Home, but Watts was receiving offers to direct large films for other studios instead of returning to the franchise, including potentially working on a different property for Marvel Studios and Feige. 57. In September 2019, Sony Pictures Entertainment chairman Tony Vinciquerra said that for the moment the door is closed on Spider-Man returning to the MCU and confirmed that the character would be integrated with Sony's own shared universe, Sony's Spider-Man universe, SU, moving forward. Responding to backlash from fans following the announcement, Vincicora added that the Marvel people are terrific people, we have great respect for them, but on the other hand we have some pretty terrific people of our own. Feige didn't do all the work, we're pretty capable of doing what we have to do here. 59. However, after this fan reaction continued at Disney's biennial convention D23, and at the urging of Holland, who personally spoke to Disney CEO Bob Iger and Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group Chairman Tom Rothman, 60 the companies returned to negotiations. 61 Sony and Disney announced a new agreement at the end of September which would allow Marvel Studios and Feige to produce another MCU Spider-Man film for Sony with Amy Pascal, scheduled for July 16, 2021. For Disney was reportedly co-financing 25% of the film in exchange for 25% of its profits, while retaining the character's merchandising rights. 461 Feige said he was thrilled that the character would remain in the MCU and said all of us at Marvel Studios are very excited that we get to keep working on the franchise. The agreement also allowed Holland's Spider-Man to appear in a future Marvel Studios film as well as crossing over to Sony's own shared universe, for with the latter interaction described as a call and answer between the two franchises as they acknowledge details between the two in what would loosely be described as a shared detailed universe. Sony described their previous films with Marvel Studios as a great collaboration, and said our mutual desire to continue was equal to that of the many fans. 61. At the time of the new agreement, Watts was in final negotiations to direct the film. 62. Discussing the new deal in early October, Iger attributed it to the efforts of Holland as well as the fan response to the end of the original deal. He felt that both Sony and Disney had initially forgotten that there are other people who actually matter while they were negotiating. 63. Rothman said the deal was a win-win-win. A win for Sony, a win for Disney, a win for the fans. He felt the initial reports on the negotiations did not necessarily line up with the actual discussions that were taking place, and said the final deal would have eventuated without the reports and fan discourse. 64. By the middle of the month, Zendaya was confirmed to be reprising her role as Michelle M.J. Jones Watson from the previous films in the sequel. 89. Pre-production. McKenna and Summers began working on the script in earnest by December 2019. 3015 They considered featuring Kraven the Hunter as the film's main antagonist. 30 An idea that Watts had expressed interest in and pitched to Holland. 6566 but was abandoned because Sony wanted to first feature the character in a solo film before any other projects. 67 The plot subsequently gravitated towards a story idea similar to the film It's a Wonderful Life, 1946, in which Parker makes a wish regarding his now public identity. That idea introduced Dr. Stephen Strange to the story, and the duo began exploring the idea of the multiverse and potentially revisiting characters from past Spider-Man films. Initially they thought this would just be a tease for fans, but they ultimately decided to fully integrate the past characters into the plot. Summers said, once it was collectively decided that we were going to take this swing, we had to commit and we had to do what was right for the story. They optimistically wrote for all the characters they wanted in the film before those actors were confirmed to be returning. 30 Initial drafts of the film included every major character from past Spider-Man films returning, but this was narrowed down because the pair felt they had bit 10 off more than they could chew. The duo worked hard to prevent the film from just being a bunch of fan service by using the returning characters to help tell Peter Parker's story instead of just creating curtain calls for everybody. 15 Norman Osborn / Green Goblin from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy was not the main villain of the film in the first version of the script, despite still appearing as an antagonist. After the film lost other characters, McKenna and Summers concluded that the Green Goblin had to be the main villain and rewrote the script to give him a second chance to replicate his actions in the film Spider-Man, 2002, but in a darker way related to Holland's version of Spider-Man. 68 America Chavez had been considered to appear in the film at one point to serve in the Sorcerer's Apprentice type role that eventually became part of Ned Leeds's role in the film. She would go on to appear in the MCU film Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, 2022. 69. By the end of 2019, filming was expected to begin in mid-2020. 70 by March 2020, McKenna and Summers were still working on the first draft of the script. 15 in April, Sony rescheduled the film's release to November 5, 2021, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 71 Although the film was originally meant to be set after the events of Multiverse of Madness, release date changes meant the film would be released first, which meant aspects of the plot had to be rewritten. 72 Including Strange no longer having first-hand knowledge of the multiverse. McKenna felt this made it even more frightening to start fooling around with these things, because it's the fear of the unknown. 15 In June, Marisa Tomei confirmed that she would return as May Parker along with Watts as director. She was hopeful that May's work as a community organizer would be featured in the film. 29 Also in June, Charlie Cox, who portrayed Matt Murdock/Daredevil in Marvel Television's Netflix series, was contacted by Feige about reprising his role in upcoming Marvel Studios projects, starting with appearances in No Way Home and the Disney Plus series She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, 2022. 73-74 While working on the script, McKenna and Summers discussed the possibility of giving Murdock a larger role in the film than they had originally planned, though the duo ultimately decided against it to avoid shifting the film's focus away from Parker. 75 The next month, Holland said production was planned to take place from late 2020 to February 2021. 76, and Sony shifted the film's release date to December 17, 2021. 77 Tony Revolori was also confirmed to be reprising his role as Flash Thompson. 28 In early October, Jacob Batalon and Benedict Cumberbatch were set to reprise their MCU roles of Ned Leeds and Strange, while Jamie Foxx was set to return as Max Dillon/Electro from Mark Webb's film The Amazing Spider-Man 2, 2014, with filming beginning later in the month. 16/11 Immediately prior to the beginning of filming, several other key actors in the film had yet to sign on. According to Holland, the film needed all or none of the actors to be produced. 72. Filming. Second unit filming occurred from October 14 to 16, 2020, in New York City. 78-79-80 under the working title Serenity, now 81-79 to capture visual effects plates and establishing shots. 78 Filming occurred in the Astoria, Sunnyside, and Long Island City neighborhoods in Queens. 82-80 on October 23, filming occurred in Greenwich Village in Manhattan. 83. The production moved to Atlanta by October 25, with Holland, Batalon, and Zendaya joining for principal photography. 84-85 After Holland finished shooting the Sony film Uncharted, 2022, 2 days earlier. 86-78-87 Mauro Fiore served as cinematographer on the film. 88 Replacing Seamus McGarvey. 89 Who had to leave the production after contracting COVID-19. McGarvey also had a conflict with the film Cyrano, 2021, following the third MCU Spider-Man film's pandemic caused production delay. 90 As principal photography was originally planned to start in July 2020. 91-92-76 Shooting in Atlanta occurred at Trilith Studios, with strict safety measures in place on the sound stages to prevent exposure to COVID-19. 93 To reduce interactions between cast and crew members on set during the pandemic, the production reportedly relied on innovative new technology that scanned actors into a visual effects system that can apply makeup and costumes to actors during post-production. 94 A light system was also in place to signal when the cast could take off their masks for filming and when masks would be required for the cast and crew members to wear while set work was being done. 95 Cumberbatch began shooting his scenes in Atlanta by late November, before beginning work on Multiverse of Madness, which began filming that month in London. 96-97 Filming ran for 7 to 8 weeks using the working title Serenity Now and the November Project, before a break during the 2020 Christmas season. 98-87-99 By December 2020, Alfred Molina was set to reprise his role as Otto Octavius/Dr. Octopus from Raimi's film Spider-Man 2, 2004, 24 with Tobey Maguire reprising his role as Peter Parker / Spider-Man from Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy and Andrew Garfield returning as Peter Parker / Spider-Man from Webb's The Amazing Spider-Man films. 30 A cameo appearance of Maguire and Garfield alongside Holland as their respective Spider-Men had previously been considered for the Sony Pictures animation film Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, 2018, but was cut then because Sony felt at that moment that it would be too risky and confusing. 100 At that time, Collider reported that Maguire and Garfield would appear in the film alongside Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson from Raimi's Spider-Man film trilogy and Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy from the Amazing Spider-Man films. 101 The first draft of the script included other characters from the Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man films, such as Sally Field's May Parker, but the writers felt that including too many characters would negatively affect the story. 15 The rumors about returning actors led to speculation and commentary, with Richard Newby of The Hollywood Reporter believing that a crossover-style film could lessen the impact of Sony's successful animated Into the Spider-Verse film. 102 His colleague Graham McMillan felt a Spider-Verse crossover would allow Marvel to clean up some loose ends, and fulfill some fan dreams in the process, especially if Marvel and Sony's negotiations meant that they wanted to separate Spider-Man from the MCU. 103 Films Howie Tran-Bui feared the film was becoming overcrowded and wished that Holland could lead a Spider-Man film without a bigger A-list star showing him the ropes. 104 While Adam B. Vary of Variety noted that these reports were not confirmed and questioned whether the returning actors would be making more than cameo appearances. 105 Shortly after, Holland denied that Maguire and Garfield would appear in the film. 87 Many of the actors returning from previous Spider-Man films were brought to set in cloaks to help prevent their involvements in the film from leaking. 106 Around Christmas 2020, McKenna and Summers rewrote the introductions of Maguire and Garfield as well as much of the third act in time for those actors to start filming. They had not been able to focus on those scenes earlier because they were busy during filming of much of the first and second acts in the previous months. 15. Feige confirmed in December 2020 that the film would have connections to Multiverse of Madness. 107 A month later he discussed the fact that the film's title had not yet been announced, acknowledging that it was being referred to by some as Spider-Man 3 and revealing that Marvel was referring to it as Homecoming 3 internally. 108 Cox had shot material for the film by then. 40 An Atlanta set photo indicated that the film would be set during the Christmas season. 109 Filming occurred at Frederick Douglass High School from January 22 to 24. 111 The next month, Holland described it as the most ambitious standalone superhero film 98 and again denied the rumors that Maguire and Garfield would appear. 112 At the end of February, the film's title was revealed to be Spider-Man, No Way Home, continuing the naming convention of the past two films of featuring home in the title. 113 Filming took place at Midtown High School from March 19 to 21. 114 The Atlanta public school system had stopped allowing buildings in the district for use as filming locations because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but gave this film an exception since both the Frederick Douglass and Midtown schools were previously used as filming locations in Homecoming. 110 Hannibal Buress was revealed to be reprising his role as gym teacher Coach Wilson. 114 With Buress releasing a music video in August 2021 revealing that he had filmed scenes in Atlanta. 43 Holland said No Way Home had more visceral fight sequences than the previous two films, with more hand-to-hand combat. 26 Filming wrapped on March 26, 2021. 116 Post-production. Actors reprising their roles from earlier Spider-Man films include Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus, Jamie Foxx as Electro, Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman, Rhys Ifans as Lizard, and J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. In April 2021, Molina confirmed that he was appearing in the film, explaining that he had been told not to talk about his role in the film during production, but he realized that his appearance had been widely rumored and reported on. 25 later that month, J.B. Smoove revealed that he was returning as Julius Dahl from Far From Home 45, while Cox stated that he was not involved with the film. 117 In early May, Garfield denied that he had been asked to appear in the film, but later said never say never. 119 While Angourie Rice was revealed to be returning as Betty Brant in the film, reprising her role from previous MCU media. 42 later that month, Stone denied her involvement in the film. 120. Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group President Sanford Panich acknowledged in May that there had been confusion and frustration from fans regarding the relationship between the SU and the MCU, but stated that there was a plan to clarify this. He believed it was already getting a little more clear for people as to where we're headed at that time, and added that the release of No Way Home would reveal more of this plan. Very commented that the apparent introduction of multiverse elements in No Way Home could be what would allow Holland to appear in both the MCU and the SU. 121 The official trailer for No Way Home confirmed the involvements of Jon Favreau as Harold Happy Hogan and Benedict Wong as Wong, reprising their roles from past MCU films 18, as well as J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson from Far From Home. Simmons previously played a different version of the character in the Raimi trilogy as well. 46 It was also confirmed that the characters Electro and Green Goblin would appear in the film 1819. 122 With the implication that this incarnation of Green Goblin would be Willem Dafoe's version from the Raimi films. 122 In September 2021, Garfield again denied he was in the film, saying, "No matter what I say, it's either going to be really disappointing for people or it's going to be really exciting." 123 Garfield later described his denials as rather stressful but also weirdly enjoyable. 124. In early October, many commentators expected Tom Hardy to reprise his roles as Eddie Brock and Venom from the SU films Venom, 2018, and Venom, Let There Be Carnage, 2021, after the Let There Be Carnage mid-credits scene showed the characters being transported from their universe, the SU, to the MCU. 125 126 127 Feige said there was a lot of coordination between the Let There Be Carnage and No Way Home teams to create the scene. 128 which was directed by Watts during the production of No Way Home. 15 Hardy ultimately appeared as Brock in the film's mid-credits scene. 41 Though there had been discussions about integrating him into the film's final battle. 15 As well as bonding Holland's Parker to a symbiote. 129 Later that month, Empire's issue on No Way Home stated that the film would include the returns of Dr. Octopus, Electro, Dafoe's Green Goblin, Thomas Hayden Church's Flint Marko / Sandman from Raimi's film Spider-Man 3, 2007, and Rhys Ifans's Kurt Connors / Lizard from Webb's film The Amazing Spider-Man, 2012. 130 Church's role in the film was originally meant to be larger, counting with a subplot of his own about Sandman's relationship with his daughter Penny, who was previously portrayed by Perla Haney Jardine, but the COVID-19 pandemic and the script being rewritten led to his role's reduction, only providing scratch dialogue and some motion capture at a San Antonio, Texas parking lot. 131 Watts said these were still unconfirmed rumors and was in no hurry to confirm or deny appearances of the characters. 130 While Feige said the rumors were fun for fans but audiences should not expect them all to come true. 132 The film's second trailer confirmed the involvements of Dafoe, Church, and Ifans. 21 Paul Giamatti's Alexei Saitsevic / Rhino from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Jake Gyllenhaal's Quentin Beck / Mysterio from Far From Home were also considered for inclusion, with McKenna and Summers playing with the idea of a Sinister Six forming. Rhino, Mysterio, and the Sinister Six ultimately did not appear in the film. 133 Though archival footage of Gyllenhaal as Beck from Far From Home was used in No Way Home. 49 A cameo appearance by the version of Peter Parker / Spider-Man from Insomniac Games' Spider-Man video game series was also considered for No Way Home. 129 Concept art of Dr. Octopus for No Way Home revealed that in addition to his original outfit from Spider-Man 2, there were plans for the character to wear a green and yellow comics-accurate costume in the film, but the idea was scrapped. 134. At the beginning of November, Jorge Landeborg Jr. revealed that he would be reprising his role as Jason Ionello from Homecoming and Far From Home in a similar role to those films that would have very little to do with the core story. 135 By the middle of the month, additional photography had been completed for the film. 136 Pascal described No Way Home as the culmination of the Homecoming trilogy, 137 and Arian Moaid revealed that he had a role in the film. 138 Playing Department of Damage Control, DODC, Agent Cleary. 49 At that time, Dunst confirmed that she would not appear in the film. 139 but also stated that she would never say no to reprising her role as Mary Jane Watson. 140 In mid-December, Martin Starr was confirmed to be appearing as Roger Harrington in the film, reprising his role from previous MCU media. 44 A teaser trailer for Multiverse of Madness was included at the end of the film as a post-credits scene. 141 Before being released online shortly after No Way Home's theatrical release. 142 Jeffrey Ford and Lee Folsom Boyd served as the film's editors. 143 The visual effects were provided by Cinesite, Clear Angle Studios, Crafty Apes, Digital Domain, Folks VFX, Framestore, Luma Pictures, Monsters Aliens Robots Zombies, Mr. X, Perception, Secret Lab, Sony Pictures Imageworks, and SSVFX. 144 The scene of Holland's Parker's first confrontation with the Green Goblin in Hogan's apartment went through several different iterations, including one that featured Michael Keaton's Adrian Toomes/Vulture from Homecoming, and another in which the Goblin bombs Hogan's apartment with May still inside, presumably killing her in a different manner than how it was depicted in the final film. 145 146 129 Music. Main article, Spider-Man, No Way Home, soundtrack. In November 2020, Homecoming and Far From Home composer Michael Giacchino was confirmed to be returning for No Way Home. 147 148 The film's score album was released digitally on December 17, 2021, with a track titled Arachniverture released as a single on December 9 and another titled Exit Through the Lobby released the following day. 149 Giacchino references themes from previous Spider-Man films by Hans Zimmer, James Horner, Christopher Young. 150 and Danny Elfman, as well as his own themes from Doctor Strange, 2016. 151 Regarding the use of these other themes, Giacchino did not want their use to be fan service and finding ways to include them in a very targeted way. He and Watts were very much in alignment in terms of when to use them and when not to use them for their maximum effect. 152. Marketing. In May 2020, Sony entered a promotional partnership with Hyundai Motor Group to showcase their new models and technologies in the film. 153 Hyundai later released a commercial, titled Only Way Home, that was directed by Watts to promote the film and the Ioniq 5 electric-powered SUV, which appears in the film along with the Hyundai Tucson, with Holland and Battleland starring. 154 In late February 2021, Holland, Battleland, and Zendaya released 3 stills featuring their characters from the film alongside fake logos with the titles Spider-Man, Phone Home, Spider-Man, Home Wrecker, and Spider-Man, Home Slice, respectively. 155 The film's official title was announced the next day with a video showing Holland, Battleland, and Zendaya leaving Watts' office, where they supposedly received the fake titles. Battleland and Zendaya note that Holland could not be trusted with the actual title since he had accidentally revealed the second film's title. The video ends on a whiteboard showing the film's true title, among various other titles featuring the word home that were apparently considered. 113 Jennifer Bissett of CNET suggested the fake titles and logos could represent the villains in the film, including Fox's Electro and Molina's Dr. Octopus 155, while the rap's Humberto Gonzalez called them funny bait and switch fakes, and noted the Phone Home title referenced a line from E.T. the Extraterrestrial, 1982. 156 Gregory Lawrence of Collider felt the home wrecker title could point to the film feeling like a 1990s thriller film, and said the fake titles were a solid goof to excite fans. He also compared the stills to the terrifying / awe-inspiring wonder of Steven Spielberg films and The Goonies, 1985, 157, while Jermaine Lucie from IO9 said they gave off subtle National Treasure, Indiana Jones vibes. 158 In July 2021, Marvel revealed various toys and figurines for the film, including Funko Pops, Marvel Legends figures, and Lego sets. 159. At the end of August 2021, when asked about the lack of trailer and official images or descriptions for the film, Feige stated that the film was not being any more or less secret than any of our other projects and reaffirmed that a trailer would be released before the film's premiere in theaters. 160 Though Sony handles the marketing for the film, their marketing team is in coordination with Disney's to ensure each knows when the other is releasing MCU-related content, so it is a win-win for everybody. 161 On August 22, an apparent leak of the first trailer was shared on social media. 162 163 164 which the Hollywood Reporter deemed legitimate after Sony worked to have various copies of the trailer taken down. 162 Adam Chitwood at Collider noted the built-up online fervor surrounding the trailer and felt that it would not be able to live up to the hype fans have built up in their minds. Chitwood continued that the other 2021 film releases from Marvel Studios had not seen a similar level of demand as No Way Home, pointing out that all of the rumored castings had positioned the film to be a once-in-a-lifetime moviegoing experience if they were accurate. He also wondered if Sony was wary of committing marketing that noted the film's December 2021 release date amid the resurgence of the COVID-19 Delta variant. 165. The film's teaser trailer was officially released on August 23 during Sony's CinemaCon 2021 panel. 19 Entertainment Weekly's Devin Kogan noted that the trailer confirmed the multiverse's role in the film, including elements from the Raimi and Webb films 5, while Ethan Anderton from Slash Film called the trailer nothing short of thrilling since it confirmed many of the previous rumors about the film. 166 Austin Goslin at Polygon conversely felt much of what had been rumored did not get revealed in the trailer, feeling that the rumors were either false or Marvel was still intending to keep them a secret. 167 Anderton's colleague Joshua Meyer called the trailer a doozy, packed with jaw-dropping moments, and noted how the film would be adapting the One More Day comic book storyline. 168 Newbie had previously noted the apparent adaptation of One More Day and One Moment in Time storylines following the reveal of Cumberbatch's casting. 102 Many commentators noted the possible teases of Spider-Man villain Sandman and the Lizard in the trailer as an indication of the Sinister Six forming in the film. 46 122 169 Vinny Mancuso at Collider was excited to see the return of Molina and the potential for Dafoe's involvement, but called it a cheap pop since it was doing a disservice to the stories you're trying to tell in the present by reminding the audience how much better things used to be. He also felt the trailer played into Marvel's ongoing reluctance to let Tom Holland's Spider-Man star in his own Spider-Man movies, since the trailer gave Parker zero memorable moments among all of its elements. 170 The trailer had 355.5 million global views in its first 24 hours, becoming the most viewed trailer in that time period. This surpassed the record of Avengers: Endgame, 289 million views, and more than doubled the views for the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, 135 million. It also generated the largest 24-hour social media conversation volume of all time globally with 4.5 million mentions, made up of 2.91 million in the United States, and 1.5 million internationally. These both exceeded Avengers: Endgame's mentions, 1.94 million in the United States, 1.38 million internationally. 171. The second official trailer premiered at a fan screening at the Regal Sherman Oaks Theater in Los Angeles on November 16, 2021. 172 Goblin felt the trailer reveals the full extent of Marvel's Spider-Man multiverse, 173 while his colleague Matt Patches noted the missing appearance of Maguire's or Garfield's Spider-Man in the trailer but felt that it was entirely possible the actors appear in No Way Home. 174 Jason Robbins of Collider was disappointed by the trailer, saying it was what we expected, but less, since it just showed the returning villains and had no confirmation of Maguire or Garfield or further insight into the multiverse. 47 Some commentators said parts of the trailer appeared as though Maguire and Garfield had been edited out of the footage, such as a shot in which the lizard appears to be struck by an invisible force. 176 On November 24, Sony began releasing several videos on TikTok as part of their The Daily Bugle viral marketing campaign featuring Simmons and Rice. 177 In December 2021, the first minute of the film premiered exclusively on Late Night with Seth Meyers. 178 While a newsstand for The Daily Bugle was set up in New York City in partnership with Liberty Mutual to promote the film. 179 Other marketing partners include the video games Fortnite and PUBG Mobile, which featured special in-game Spider-Man themed props and costumes. Asus, whose Republic of Gamers, ROG, laptop is used by Ned in the film. Xiaomi, IQOO, Continental AG, and Tampico Beverages. The film had a total promotional marketing value of $202 million. 180. Release. Theatrical. Spider-Man, No Way Home had its world premiere at Fox Village Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, on December 13, 2021. 182 The film was released in the United Kingdom and Ireland on December 15, 183 and in the United States on December 17, where it opened in 4,325 theaters including in Real D 3D 184 and IMAX and other premium large formats. 185 It was previously set for release on July 16, 2021 but was pushed back to November 5. 71 Before it was further pushed back to the December 2021 date due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 77 It is part of Phase 4 of the MCU. 186. In August 2021, Sony and CJ4D announced a deal to release 15 of Sony's films over 3 years in the Screen X format, including No Way Home. 187 In November 2021, the film was reported to be getting a theatrical release in China, making it the first Phase 4 film to do so, as Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and The Legend of the Ten Rings, and Eternals were not released in the country. 188 Though as of February 2022, there had been no release date. 189 In part because of diplomatic tensions between the country and the United States. 189 which stemmed in part from the U.S. diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. 190 In May 2022, Chinese authorities had reportedly requested for the Statue of Liberty to be removed from the film for it to be released in the country, but Sony refused. 191. In March 2024, Sony announced that all of their live-action Spider-Man films would be re-released in theaters as part of Columbia Pictures' 100th anniversary celebration. Spider-Man, No Way Home was re-released on June 3, 2024. 192. The More Fun Stuff version. Theatrical release poster for the More Fun Stuff version. It was considered an improvement from the original poster since it featured all the characters previously kept secret with the marketing of the original release. 193, 194, 195. An extended cut of the film, subtitled The More Fun Stuff version, was announced in June 2022. The re-release celebrated 60 years of Spider-Man in comics and 20 years of Spider-Man in film. 196 and featured approximately 13 minutes of additional and deleted scenes. The additions included an introduction by Holland, Maguire, and Garfield, additional scenes of Parker and May being interrogated by the Department of Damage Control, the scene with Holland's brother Harry as a thief that was cut from the original release, additional scenes of Parker at school, Brandt interviewing Parker, his teachers, and his classmates. Daily Bugle reports of Parker's first day back at school and the arrivals of Dylan and Marco, additional scenes in the basement of the New York Sanctum, a scene featuring May, Parker, and the villains in an elevator while on the way to Hogan's apartment, an additional scene with Murdoch and Hogan, additional scenes of the three Parkers, and a new post-credits scene, replacing the teaser trailer of Multiverse of Madness, which showcases the effects of Strange Second Spell. 197. The More Fun Stuff version was released in theaters beginning August 31, 2022, in Indonesia, followed by the United States and Canada, among other countries, on September 1, and later in a number of other markets through October 6. 198-199 The poster for the extended cut was considered an improvement on the original release's marketing, since it was able to feature all of the characters who were previously kept secret in the lead-up to the film's release. 193 194 195 Shrish T. Mishra at Collider said it was an Avengers-style poster with a perfect blend of multiverse feels, combined with the Where's Waldo effect. 193 Anthony Lund of MovieWeb called it an epic poster that the fans have been calling out for. 200 comicbook.com's Russ Burlingame said the poster was what we've all been waiting for and a big change in the way Sony initially promoted the movie, since they continued to play coy on the cameos after the film had released. 195. Home media. External images. Image icon. Of course, we got the meme, presents the home media announcement tweet and 1960s TV series meme homage image from Spider-Man movies Twitter. Image icon. The Spider-Man pointing meme, via the origins of the iconic Spider-Man pointing meme, Nerdist Industries. Spider-Man, No Way Home was released by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment on digital download on March 15, 2022 201 and on Ultra HD Blu-ray, and DVD on April 12. Digitally, the film was also available in a 3-film bundle including all of Marvel Studios' Spider-Man films, as well as an 8-film bundle including Holland, Maguire, and Garfield's films. 202 Sony moved the digital release up to March 15 from March 22, following Blu-ray versions of the film being leaked to torrent sites. 203 201 The home media includes a gag reel and various behind-the-scenes featurettes, including 2 roundtable discussions, one with Dafoe, Molina, and Fox, and another with Holland, Maguire, and Garfield. 204 It has the most pre-release digital purchases on Vudu, surpassing the purchases for Endgame. To announce the home media release dates, Sony and the film's social media accounts posted a photo of Holland, Maguire, and Garfield recreating a popular meme from the 1967 Spider-Man television series of multiple Spider-Men pointing at one another. The tweets of the image garnered more than 10,000 retweets within minutes of being posted. 205 Within its first week of release, the film sold over 2.1 million digital units in the United States, equaling $42 million. This was a record for a film's first week available on digital release. 206 It was also the highest-selling film on physical media for 2022 in the US according to the NPD Group. 207 The film was released on Starz following its theatrical and home media releases, the last film released by Sony with an exclusive limited streaming video on demand, SVOD, release on Starz. Following films would be released on Netflix after their theatrical and home media releases, through 2026. 208 209 Additionally, Sony signed a deal with Disney in April 2021 giving the latter access to Sony's legacy content, including past Spider-Man films and Marvel content in the SU, to stream on Disney Plus and Hulu and appear on Disney's linear television networks. Disney's access to Sony's titles to be released from 2022 through 2026 would come following their availability on Netflix. 210 211 In February 2022, Sony expanded their pre-existing deal with Warner Media for making their films available on HBO Max and HBO across Central and Eastern Europe, which included No Way Home. 212 The More Fun Stuff version was released by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment on digital on October 18, 2022, as Spider-Man, No Way Home, Extended Cut 213 when it also began streaming on Starz. 214. Reception. Box office. Spider-Man, No Way Home grossed $814.9 million in the United States and Canada, and $1.107 billion in other territories for a worldwide total of $1.921 billion. 3. It became the highest-grossing film of 2021 215 the sixth highest-grossing film of all time 216 the third highest-grossing film in the United States and Canada 217 the highest-grossing Spider-Man film, and the highest-grossing film released by Sony. 218 No Way Home is also the first film since Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, 2019, to gross over $1 billion 219 becoming the third fastest to reach that milestone and the first to do so during the COVID-19 pandemic. 220 It surpassed Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, 2017, to become Sony Pictures' highest-grossing film in North America. 218 Based on a final projected worldwide gross of $1.75 billion, a figure that was surpassed, Deadline Hollywood estimated the film's final net profit at $610 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing, talent participations, and other costs versus box office grosses and home media revenues. 221 It returned the global revenue of Cineworld, the world's second largest cinema operator, to 88% of 2019 levels. 222 In the United States and Canada, No Way Home earned $121.85 million, which included $50 million from its Thursday night previews, on its opening day, becoming the second highest opening film after Endgame, $157.4 million, and the highest opening film for a December release. In its opening weekend, it grossed $260 million, surpassing Infinity War, $257.7 million, to become the second highest domestic box office opening of all time. 223 As of January 9, 2022, an estimated 54.4 million people have seen No Way Home in theaters in the United States and Canada. 224 The film remained at the top of the box office for 3 additional weekends until it was dethroned in its 5th weekend by Scream. 225 226 224 227 In its 6th weekend of release, No Way Home reclaimed the top spot at the box office. 228 The film once again held onto the number 1 spot in its 7th weekend of release. 229 In March 2022, the film surpassed $800 million in the United States and Canada, becoming the third film to do so after Star Wars, The Force Awakens, 2015, and Endgame. Comscore senior media analyst Paul Dergarabian called the film arguably the most important movie to the movie theater industry ever, as it helped show the viability of the movie theater industry and the benefit of theatrical release windows while the industry recovered from the COVID-19 pandemic. 206 The film dropped to the 11th spot on its 15th weekend. 230 No Way Home returned to first place at the box office, earning $1.8 million on the first day of the release of the More Fun Stuff version 231 and went on to finish third with $6.5 million over the 4-day Labor Day weekend, finishing behind Top Gun, Maverick, 2022, and Bullet Train, 2022. 232 It was the highest opening weekend box office gross for a re-released MCU film, surpassing Endgame, $5.5 million, and Far From Home, $4 million. 233 No Way Home earned $43.6 million from 15 markets on its opening day, with Sony holding the best opening day record in South Korea, the United Kingdom, Mexico, Italy, and Taiwan. In South Korea, the film grossed $5.28 million on its opening day, thereby beating Far From Home's opening day in the country by over 11% and the biggest day one figure for any film during the pandemic. In the United Kingdom, the film beat No Time to Die's opening box office record at £7.6 million, $10.1 million. 234 in India, the film's box office on its opening day was 320 million Indian rupees, equivalent to 360 million Indian rupees or $4.2 million in 2023, to 345 million Indian rupees, equivalent to 390 million Indian rupees or $4.6 million in 2023, beating Endgame and the Indian film Suryavanshi, 2021. 235 in its 5-day opening weekend, the film grossed $340.8 million from 60 markets. 236 in Latin America as of January 16, 2022, it became the all-time highest grossing film in Mexico, $72 million, and the second all-time highest in Brazil, $50.4 million, Central America, $12.6 million, and Ecuador, $7.9 million. 237 as of February 27, 2022, the film's largest markets are the United Kingdom, $127.3 million, Mexico, $76.2 million, Australia, $67.9 million, France, $65.2 million, and South Korea, $63.1 million. 238. Pre-sale ticket records. Tickets went on sale the midnight of November 29, 2021. With several ticket websites such as Fandango and AMC Theaters crashing due to the high influx of users attempting to purchase tickets. 239 ticket sales on Fandango surpassed those for Black Widow in just 2 hours, and by the end of the day it became the best first-day advance ticket sale since Endgame 240 while also surpassing the 24-hour ticket sales of Infinity War, Star Wars, The Last Jedi, 2017, Far From Home, The Rise of Skywalker and Rogue One, 2016. 241 No Way Home had the second highest one-day ticket sales on AMC, with CEO Adam Aron attributing this to Spider-Man themed non-fungible tokens, NFTs. 241. The film also set records in Mexico with $7 million in the first day ticket sale, which was 40% above Endgame. In the United Kingdom, the film outsold No Time to Die 3 times in the same 12-day span before their release, while Brazil's ticket sale was 5% above Endgame at the same point. The film also passed the pre-sale records of The Rise of Skywalker in Poland and No Time to Die in Portugal. Other markets with the best pre-sale records include Spain, Brazil, and Central America. 242. Critical response. The review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 93%, with an average score of 7.9/10, based on 432 reviews. The site's critical consensus reads, "A bigger, bolder Spider-Man sequel, No Way Home expands the franchise's scope and stakes without losing sight of its humor and heart." 243. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 71 out of 100, based on 60 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. 244 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film a rare A+ grade on an A+ to F scale, the first live-action Spider-Man film and the fourth MCU film overall to earn the score after The Avengers, 2012, Black Panther, 2018, and Avengers, Endgame. 223 Post-Track reported 96% of audience members gave it a positive score, with 91% saying they would definitely recommend it. 223. Amelia Emberwing of IGN gave the film 8 out of 10, stating that its impact on the universe as a whole, as well as the overall emotional beats, all feel earned while praising the performances of Dafoe, Molina, and Fox. 245 Pete Hammond of Deadline Hollywood praised Watts' direction and wrote, "Holland, Zendaya, and Battlein are a priceless trio, and the various villains and others who pop in and out make this pure movie fun of the highest order. Fans will be in heaven." 246 Peter DeBrugge of Variety praised Garfield's and Maguire's performances and felt the film provides enough resolution for the past 2 decades of Spider-Man adventures that audiences who've tuned out along the way will be rewarded for giving this one a shot. 32 Writing for Den of Geek, Don K. gave the film 4 out of 5 stars, for its action sequences, performances, and chemistry of the cast, stating that No Way Home channels the entire spectrum of Spider-Man movies while setting the character on a course all his own at last. 247 Jennifer Bissett of CNET praised the action sequences, performances, and story, writing, "A Russo brothers' influence can almost be felt ushering Holland's third Spider-Man movie into new, weightier territory. If the character is to become the next Tony Stark, this is the way to etch a few more scars into a more interesting hero's facade. If you came for the biggest movie of the year, you'll definitely leave satisfied." 248. Kevin Marr of The Times gave the film 4 out of 5 stars, saying that it was as satisfying to watch as it is perilous to discuss, and described it as a dynamite blast of smartpants postmodernism that never once abandons its emotional core. 249. Benjamin Lee of The Guardian gave the film 3 out of 5 stars, praising Watts for bringing back numerous baddies from the previous Spider-Man universes, delivering a propulsive, slickly choreographed adventure that will appease a broad fan base this Christmas, but feeling that the script lacks the expected fizz, that sense of shaggy fun struggling to break through a more robotic plot. 250 Kate Erbland of IndieWire gave the film a B, feeling that Watts' work was satisfying, emotional, and occasionally unsteady. She found that the script spent far too long dwelling on the machinations of people and plans we already know, throwing in some awkward misdirection and simply delaying the inevitable. 251 The Hollywood Reporter's John DeFore felt that the inclusion of multiversal mayhem addressed the Iron Man-ification of the character that made Holland-centric films least fun. 252. CNN's Brian Lowry praised the humor and wrote, "What's already apparent, though, is that this movie was conceived to be savored and enjoyed. And in what has become an increasingly elusive phenomenon, that will include whoops and hollers from appreciative fans in theaters, where Spider-Man will first reveal its secrets, and then, more than likely, shows off its legs." 253. Richard Roper of Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3 out of 4 and praised the performances of Holland and Zendaya, writing, "There's nothing new or particularly memorable about the serviceable CGI and practical effects, but we remain invested in the outcome in large part because Holland remains the best of the cinematic Spider-Man, while Zendaya lends heart and smarts and warmth to every moment she's on screen. We continue to root for these two to make it, even if the multiverse isn't always on their side." 254. In contrast, Bill Jebari of Vulture called the film aggressively mediocre, criticizing the action, comedy, and writing, but praising Dafoe, describing him as once again gets to have some modest fun with his character's divided self, and Garfield, calling him a genuine delight and naming his the film's best performance. 255 Hannah Strong of Little White Lies criticized the film for poor character development, particularly in regard to Holland's Peter Parker character, stating, "It's grating seeing the same character repeatedly fail to learn any lessons or show even a modicum of personal growth." The same review was also generally critical of the film prioritizing fan service over good storytelling. 256. Accolades. Main article, list of accolades received by Spider-Man, No Way Home. No Way Home was nominated for an Academy Award 257 3 Visual Effects Society Awards, winning 1,258 259 a Costume Designers Guild Award 260 a Golden Reel Award 261 3 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, winning all, 262 5 Critics' Choice Super Awards, winning 3, 263 264 and 9 Saturn Awards, winning 1, 265 among others. The film was disqualified from consideration for the 75th British Academy Film Awards because it was not made available on BAFTA's streaming service, reportedly due to Sony being concerned about piracy. 266 As part of the ceremony's Oscars fan favorite contest, the 3 Spider-Men teaming up was one of the 5 finalists for Oscars Cheer Moment 267, and the film was the favorite to win the fan favorite film contest according to a Morning Consult survey. 268 It ended up finishing 2nd and 4th, respectively. 269 Future. Main article, Spider-Man, Brand New Day. By August 2019, a 4th film in the franchise was in development alongside No Way Home. 55 In November 2021, Pascal said there were plans for another trilogy of Spider-Man films starring Holland, with work on the first of those about to begin. 137 The next month, Feige confirmed that he and Pascal, along with Sony and Disney, were actively beginning to develop the story for the next Spider-Man film following Parker's momentous decision at the end of No Way Home. 270 He said that ending was a promise to audiences that they would see Holland as a proper Spider-Man for the first time, with the character on his own and fighting street-level crime in New York. 271 The 4th film, Spider-Man, Brand New Day 272 is scheduled to be released on July 31, 2026. 273 with Destin Daniel Cretton directing from a screenplay by McKenna and Summers. 272 Holland, Zendaya, and Battleon reprise their roles. 274 with Michael Mondo returning as Mac Gargan/Scorpion from Homecoming. 275 while John Bernthal and Mark Ruffalo reprise their respective MCU roles as Frank Castle/Punisher and Bruce Banner/Hulk. 274 275 They are joined by Sadie Sink. 276 Liza Colin-Zayas. 277 and Trammell Tillman. Thomas Stanley Holland, born June 1, 1996, is an English actor. He is the recipient of numerous accolades, including a BAFTA award and 3 Saturn Awards. Holland's leading films have grossed over $9.9 billion worldwide, making him one of the highest-grossing film actors of all time. He was featured on the Forbes 30 Under 30 Europe list of 2019. Holland's career began at the age of 9 when he enrolled in a dancing class. A choreographer noticed him and arranged for him to audition for a role in Billy Elliot the Musical at London's Victoria Palace Theatre. After 2 years of training, he secured a supporting part in 2008. Later that year, he was upgraded to the title role, which he played until 2010. Holland made his film debut in the disaster drama The Impossible, 2012, as a teenage tourist trapped in a tsunami. He received critical acclaim and a nomination for the Goya Award for Best New Actor. Holland then decided to pursue acting as a full-time career, appearing in How I Live Now, 2013, and playing historical figures in the film In the Heart of the Sea, 2015, and the TV miniseries Wolf Hall, 2015. Holland achieved international recognition playing Peter Parker/Spider-Man in 6 Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, superhero films, beginning with Captain America, Civil War, 2016. The following year, Holland received the BAFTA Rising Star Award and became the youngest actor to play a title role in an MCU film in Spider-Man, Homecoming. Its sequels, Far From Home, 2019, and No Way Home, 2021, each grossed more than $1 billion worldwide. The latter became the highest-grossing film of the year. Holland played another action film role in Uncharted, 2022, and also expanded to play against-type roles in the crime dramas The Devil All the Time, 2020, and Cherry, 2021. Holland has additionally directed the short film Tweet, 2015, and voiced roles in animated features, including Spies in Disguise, 2019, and Onward, 2020. Early life and education. A picture of a two-story building with two freestanding masonry piers on front. The Brit School for Performing Arts and Technology in Selhurst in South London, which Holland attended. Thomas Stanley Holland was born on June 1, 1996 in Kingston upon Thames, in southwest London, to photographer Nicola, née Frost, and comedian author Dominic Holland. 6. He has 3 younger brothers. 7. His paternal grandmother was Irish from County Tipperary of Southern Ireland and his paternal grandfather was Manx from the Isle of Man. 8, 9, 10. He lives in Kingston upon Thames, near the house of his parents and younger brothers. 11. As his parents have creative professions, he is often inspired by them. 12. He considers his father a role model who has unofficially worked as his manager due to his experience in the industry. 13, 14. Holland was educated at Donhead Preparatory School, an all-male Catholic preparatory school in Wimbledon, in the Merton Borough of southwest London. 15. When he was 7, he was diagnosed with dyslexia. His parents sent him and his brothers, to avoid making them feel neglected, to a private school so he could get the necessary attention. Although Holland liked the new school, this started to drain his family's finances. 16, 17. Holland attended Wimbledon College, a voluntary-aided Jesuit comprehensive school. 18. Followed by the Brit School for Performing Arts and Technology in the Selhurst area of Croydon. 19. Growing up, Holland considered several career choices. As a child, he was a fan of Janet Jackson's songs, and often danced to them. His mother signed him up for a dancing class advertised in the private school Holland was visiting at the time. 16, 17. In his teens, Holland briefly attended carpentry school in Cardiff, Wales. 20. He also considered becoming a primary school teacher, as he enjoys being around children. 14. Career. 2006 to 2015, early stage work and film debut. 3 young boys are performing cheerfully. Holland, Center, performing at the 5th anniversary of Billy Elliot the Musical at the Victoria Palace Theatre in 2010. At age 9, Holland began dancing at a hip-hop class at Nifty Feet Dance School in Wimbledon, where he performed with his school group at the 2006 Richmond Dance Festival. There, he was spotted by choreographer Lynn Page, an associate to Peter Darling, choreographer of Billy Elliot the Musical. Page arranged an audition for Holland, where the musical's director Stephen Daldry thought that he had great potential and was a very natural actor. 21. After 2 years of training in ballet, tap dancing and acrobatics. 13. Holland won the role of Michael Caffrey, the protagonist's best friend, and made his debut performance at the West End's Victoria Palace Theatre in June 2008. 22. During his time performing in the musical, Holland learned gymnastics. 23. Holland says when his peers at school found out about his dancing activities, they started bullying him. 17. Later in 2008, Holland and co-star Tanner Pflugger were promoted to the lead role in the musical. 24. On his first day playing Elliot, Holland developed tonsillitis but performed on stage anyway to positive reviews. He went to the doctor the next day. 1. Following his stage success, Holland hoped to be popular in school and that his schoolmates would stop bullying him. After being in a professional environment, he matured earlier than his peers and struggled to fit in. As a result, his GCSE grades suffered. 17. After his work on Billy Elliot the Musical finished in 2010. 25. Holland voiced a role in the British dub of the Japanese animated fantasy film Awry, 2011, 26 and sent an audition tape to one Antonio Bayona for a part in The Impossible, 2012. Bayona then arranged a meeting, and had Holland write a letter to his mother and recite it as an audition. Impressed with his emotional delivery, Bayona cast Holland in the film. 27. In The Impossible, Holland played a teenager trapped with his family in the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. Transitioning from stage to screen was initially hard for Holland due to the shift from live audience to camera. 28 He and co-star Naomi Watts filmed physically and psychologically taxing scenes in a 35,000-gallon water tank. 29 Working with Watts made Holland realize that he wanted to pursue an acting career permanently. 30 The Impossible premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in September to critical and commercial success. 31 Earning $180.3 million against a budget of $45 million. 32 Holland received critical praise for his performance. 28 A.O. Scott of the New York Times found Holland to be a terrific young actor, praising his character's transition from self-involvement to responsibility. 33 He won several awards, including the National Board of Review Award for Breakthrough Performance and London Film Critics Circle Award for Young British Performer of the Year. 35 Holland featured in the drama film How I Live Now, 2013, 36 lent his voice in a supporting role for the drama film Locke, 2013, 37 and had a cameo in Billy Elliot the Musical Live, 2014. 38. A round portrait of a young man. A black and white portrait of an old man. Holland portrayed two historical figures in 2015, Gregory Cromwell, top, in the miniseries Wolf Hall, and Thomas Nickerson, bottom, in his teenage years in the film In the Heart of the Sea. Holland appeared in 4 episodes of BBC Two's historical miniseries Wolf Hall, 2015, as Gregory Cromwell, son of the protagonist Thomas Cromwell played by Mark Rylance. 39 He directed Tweet, 2015, a 3-minute short film about a young man building a birdhouse with his grandfather. 27 Holland later expressed an interest in directing feature films in his 40s. 12 Also in 2015, Holland co-starred as the teenage sailor Thomas Nickerson in Ron Howard's historical adventure drama In the Heart of the Sea. The film is based on the namesake 2000 non-fiction book about the sinking of the American whaling ship Essex in 1820. In preparation, he and co-stars, including Chris Hemsworth, lost significant weight, consuming 500 to 1,000 calories a day. Holland performed most of his stunts in the film. 40 In the Heart of the Sea received mixed reviews from critics, and grossed $93 million against a $100 million budget. 42 Brian Truitt of the USA Today wrote that Holland does a good job. 43. 2015 to 2017, breakthrough as Spider-Man. In June 2015, Holland signed a 6-picture deal with Marvel Studios to play a teenage Peter Parker / Spider-Man. 44 Growing up, Holland was a fan of Spider-Man. He owned 30 costumes and bed sheet covers of the character. 13 He auditioned against 1,500 teenagers worldwide, including English actors Charlie Rowe and Asa Butterfield. 46 While producers Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal were impressed with his performances in The Impossible, Wolf Hall, and In the Heart of the Sea, 44 directors the Russo brothers cited Holland's dancing and gymnastics background as the reasons to cast him. 47 Stan Lee, Spider-Man's creator, said Holland was the exact age and height when he envisioned the character. 17 As part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, he first appeared as Spider-Man in Captain America, Civil War, 2016. 48 The film was a critical and commercial success. 49 Grossing over $1.1 billion worldwide against a budget of $250 million to become the highest grossing film of 2016. 51 In a review for The Guardian, Peter Bradshaw praised Holland and co-star Paul Rudd, who played Ant-Man, as seductively high-spirited and hilarious. 52 And Richard Roper of Chicago Sun-Times wrote that he made a strong first impression as Spider-Man. 53. Holland at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con promoting Spider-Man: Homecoming. In 2016, Holland co-starred with Joel Kinnaman and Percy Hines-White in the psychological thriller Edge of Winter. It was the first film he did without his parents' knowledge. 54 Frank Scheck of The Hollywood Reporter found Holland and White excellent, describing their terrified reaction as more emotionally wrenching than the tired thriller genre conventions to which the film ultimately succumbs. 55 At the 70th British Academy Film Awards in 2017, Holland won the Rising Star Award. 56 Holland's first work that year was alongside Charlie Hunnam in James Gray's drama The Lost City of Z, which was released to positive reviews. 57 On his last day of filming, he broke his nose after a failed backflip attempt. 58 Holland played the son of Percy Fawcett, Hunnam, an explorer who makes several attempts to find a supposed lost ancient city in the Amazon rainforest. Neil Sowens of the Times of India praised Holland for making the film emotional towards the end, and Rex Reed of the New York Observer found him remarkably strong and self-assured. 59-60 Later in 2017, Holland played Samuel Insel in Alfonso Gomez Rejon's The Current War, which received negative reviews and was a box office failure. 61-62 Clarice Luffrey of The Independent found Holland's role insubstantial. 63. Holland's second film in 2017 was his solo feature as the title character in Spider-Man: Homecoming. As a result, Holland earned an entry in Guinness Book of World Records as the youngest actor to play a title role in the MCU. 64 Though Holland took some inspiration from previous Spider-Man actors Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, he wanted to add some newness in his reinterpretation of the character. 65 Homecoming focused on Parker, as he tries to balance being a high school student and a superhero. 66 To prepare, Holland attended the Bronx High School of Science in the Bronx for a few days. 67 Although other students did not believe he was cast as Spider-Man, Holland felt this situation reflected the film's story, in which other characters are unaware that Parker is Spider-Man. 68 Homecoming and Holland's performance received positive reviews. 69 Peter Travers called it a star performance given by a born actor. 70 Made on a budget of $175 million, the film grossed over $800 million worldwide. 71 Holland's final role in 2017 was in the Irish film Pilgrimage, which premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival. 72 Outside film that year, Holland appeared with Zendaya on Paramount Network's Lip Sync Battle, during which he performed Rihanna's Umbrella in drag. 73 His parents founded the Brothers Trust, a charitable organization, which aims to use his popularity to raise funds for humanitarian causes. 74. 2018 to 2021, commercial success. Holland reprised his role as Spider-Man in Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and its follow-up Avengers: Endgame, 2019, which were filmed back-to-back. 75 The pictures each earned more than $2 billion. 76 and Endgame briefly became the highest-grossing film of all time. B. Holland followed with the sequel Spider-Man: Far From Home, 2019, which widely received positive reviews and became the first Spider-Man film to earn $1 billion. 78-79 finishing as the fourth highest grosser of 2019. 80 Ben Travis of Empire magazine found Holland a no-perfect Spider-Man still funnier and more believably teenage than Maguire and Garfield, who previously portrayed the character. Travis wrote, "Holland never loses the ebullient spark that makes him one of the MCU's most endearing figures." 81. Holland received a third consecutive Saturn Award for Best Performance by a Younger Actor for Far From Home, having previously won for Civil War and Homecoming. 82 He voiced roles in the Blue Sky Studios animation Spies in Disguise, 2019, 83 The live-action film Dolittle, 2020, and the Pixar animated film Onward, 2020. The last two were with his MCU co-stars Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Pratt, respectively. 84-85 Made on lucrative budgets, all three films underperformed at the box office. 86. Tom Holland looking to his right while raising his left hand and holding his fist. Holland at an event for Spider-Man: Far From Home in 2019. Alongside Avengers co-star Sebastian Stan, Holland starred in Antonio Campos's The Devil All the Time, 2020, a Netflix psychological thriller set after World War II. Holland said he initially worried that he lacked the depth to play a young orphaned man who goes on a killing spree, and was scared and nervous on his first day on set. Encouraged by Campos, he ultimately enjoyed playing the part, although it took a temporary toll on his mental health. 87 Campos praised Holland's effort to learn Southern American English for the role, described his acting process as methodical, thoughtful, and sensitive. 88 and called him a kind person. 88 critics from IndieWire and Roger Ebert's website opined that despite the film's failed script, Holland gave a convincing performance and showed his range as an actor. 89.90 By November 2020, the film was the 22nd most watched straight-to-streaming title of the year, according to a Variety report. 91. Holland starred in 3 films that were released in 2021. His first, the crime drama Cherry, is based on the 2018 novel by American author Nico Walker, and reunited him with Avengers directors Russo brothers. 92 He played a college student with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, after enlisting in the Army, and robs banks to finance his drug addiction. In preparation for the role, Holland shaved his head and interviewed military veterans undergoing treatments for substance abuse and PTSD. 30 He also lost 30 pounds, 14 kilograms, of weight, then regained it after filming. 93 The film was released in cinemas in February and digitally on Apple TV Plus in March. 94 Consensus among critics was that the film enabled Holland to broaden his horizons as an actor, but it had a formulaic story. 95 This was echoed by Owen Gleiberman of Variety, who further noted that Holland proved his skills as an actor and demonstrated a range of indulgent looks and moods. 96 Holland next played alongside Daisy Ridley as a young man living on a planet called New World in Chaos Walking, an adaptation of Patrick Ness's best-selling science fiction series of the same name. The film was delayed due to several reshoots in early 2019, which added $15 million to its budget, bringing its cost to $100 million. 97 Chaos Walking failed to recoup its budget and received poor reviews. 98-99 David Rooney of The Hollywood Reporter found the chemistry between Holland and Ridley lackluster, and Christian Holub of Entertainment Weekly noted his failed attempt to break away from roles similar to Spider-Man. 101. In November 2021, Holland voiced Percy Pig in a series of advertisements for Marks & Spencer's Christmas food specials. 102 The following month, Holland reprised his role as Peter Parker in the sequel Spider-Man, No Way Home. 103 After taking on mature roles in films like Cherry, Holland noted that he found it strange adjusting back to playing Parker, chiefly due to raising his voice pitch and returning to the mindset of a naive, charming teenager. 104 He described No Way Home as the most ambitious standalone superhero movie ever made. 30 Despite its release during the COVID-19 pandemic, No Way Home quickly emerged as the highest-grossing film of 2021 and the 6th highest-grossing film of all time. It also became the first film since 2019 Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker to earn more than $1 billion at the box office. 105 No Way Home became the highest-rated Spider-Man film on the online database IMDb and the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes. 106 Wendy Ide of The Guardian wrote that the film delivers an overflowing, funnel web cornucopia of treats for Spider fans and attributed Parker's continuing appeal to his endearing, puppyish enthusiasm. 107 The Times Kevin Marr opined that Holland owns every inch of the role and casts his web and captures your heart. 108 2022, present, established actor and career expansion. Discussing his future as Spider-Man after No Way Home, Holland told GQ in 2021 that he was doubtful about reprising the role, especially after he turns 30 in 2026. He expressed a desire to see a live-action Spider-Man film with Miles Morales as the protagonist, whereas Amy Pascal spoke of wanting Holland to continue playing the role. Holland began the following year with an investment in Dog Pound Gyms 109 and a starring role as a young Nathan Drake, a charismatic fortune hunter, in the film adaptation of Naughty Dog's Uncharted video game series. 110 In preparation for scenes where his character is bartending, Holland worked shifts at the Chiltern Firehouse, a pub in London. Though the filming was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Holland continued to eat and train for the role. While Uncharted polarist critics, Rebecca Rubin of Variety wrote that Holland's star power likely contributed to its box office success. 111 In a mixed review for his performance, Brian Tallarico of Roger Ebert's website labeled him miscast, writing that Holland has the agility but quite simply lacks the weight and world weariness needed for the role. 113. Holland next executive produced and starred in the Apple TV Plus miniseries The Crowded Room, 2023, inspired by the 1981 non-fiction novel The Minds of Billy Milligan, in which he played a character based on Billy Milligan. 114 It was met with negative reviews. 115 San Francisco Chronicle's Bob Strauss dismissed it as another one of Tom Holland's serious projects that's hard to take seriously. 116 Nevertheless, he earned a nomination for the Critics' Choice Television Award for Best Actor in a Movie/Miniseries. 117 Holland said that the role proved to be too emotionally taxing for him, and that he would take a year off work to recover. 118 He made a return to the stage as Romeo in Jamie Lloyd's West End revival of Romeo and Juliet, which ran for 12 weeks from May 2024. 119 Critics had mixed opinions on the play and Holland's performance. 120 In 2024, Holland created his own production company, named Billy 17, and landed a deal with Sony Pictures. 121 Among his upcoming films, he will star in Christopher Nolan's film The Odyssey, an adaptation of the epic poem The Odyssey, written by Homer. 122 123 124 In 2025, Holland called the film the best experience of his career up to that point. He stated, "I couldn't have asked for a better job. And I'm so proud of the work I've done. I came to work every day with a real sense of purpose and a point to prove, and I'm so grateful for Chris to have given me that opportunity." 125 Holland will then star in the fourth Spider-Man film, Spider-Man, Brand New Day. 126 In September 2025, Holland was briefly hospitalized after sustaining a concussion while filming Spider-Man, Brand New Day, leading to a temporary pause in production. 127 Public image. Tom Holland is looking directly towards the camera. Holland in an interview with MTV in 2018. Nadia Kamamai of The Guardian said that Holland's cheeky British charm, vulnerability, and wit has made him the object of infatuation on the internet. 13 Jonathan Dean of the Sunday Times considered him to be poised and professional, but also so confident and personable, and took note of his maturity despite boyish wiriness. 17 German actor Sonki Moring, his co-star from The Impossible, similarly remarked on his professionalism, adding, "He is blessed with a deep soul, down to earth, very polite and a friendly kid." 13 Kevin MacDonald, who directed Holland in How I Live Now, praised him as confident, articulate, and enthusiastic, and attributed Holland's success to his positive energy. 13 When asked about the secret to his success, Holland said he believes in avoiding trouble and working hard. 64 Holland appeared on Screen International's UK Stars of Tomorrow, 2012, 128 and The Hollywood Reporter's Next Gen 2015, a list of promising newcomers in film. 129 In 2019, he featured on Forbes 30 Under 30 Europe, a list of influential people under 30 years. 130, and Insider Incorporated's 45 young stars who will one day rule Hollywood. 131 After appearing on Glamour's Hot, Young and British Actors 2020, 132 he was named among the best actors under 30 by Tuco 133 and Complex Networks in 2021. 134 In the former listing, Ryan Mutooka described him as a darling to the English media because of his openness and willingness to also give interviews not related to film promotions. 133 calling him his generation's biggest leading man in 2021, GQ's Oliver Franklin Wallace wrote, Holland has ascended to a tier of stardom few actors ever reach, and rarely so young. One Variety editors Brent Lang and Rebecca Rubin reported in December 2021 that after the success of the Spider-Man films, Holland could become a top-paid actor in the future. They noted the current lack of young leading men in Hollywood and saw Holland's potential to herald a new generation of successful actors. 135 Holland is one of the highest-grossing film actors in the world. His films as a lead have grossed more than $9.9 billion worldwide according to the numbers. 136. Holland considers himself to be an impossible people-pleaser, one which according to Olivia Singh of Business Insider has resulted in his facing burnout and an incident where he vomited after a press conference. 137 A self-admittedly indiscreet person, Holland has gained a reputation for inadvertently spoiling important plot elements of his films during interviews and press conferences. 138 His MCU co-stars labeled him the least trustworthy cast member in terms of spoilers. 139 To prevent an incident, he only read parts of Captain America, Civil War's script. 138 Joe Russo similarly avoided giving Holland the script to Avengers, Endgame, and Holland knew only his lines. 140. Holland has expressed his views on the film industry. In a 2019 interview with the Sunday Times, he spoke for more representation of racial minorities and the LGBT community in film. 17 That year, when filmmaker Martin Scorsese criticized Marvel films for their lack of portraying human emotions, Holland highlighted that Scorsese has never made one, so he may not fully understand the experience. Holland stated that the key difference between a Marvel film and an award-winning one is budget, not the artistic process. He emphasized that Marvel films are still real art and noted that comparing Marvel blockbusters to independent films is unfair, as they reach vastly different audiences. 141. Personal life. Holland describes himself as a private person and is reluctant to discuss his personal life. He has also discussed having frequent episodes of sleepwalking and sleep paralysis nightmares of paparazzi in his bedroom. 142 He is a fan of the professional football club Tottenham Hotspur. 143. He had been in a relationship with his Spider-Man co-star, Zendaya, for some time before publicly acknowledging it in November 2021. He later discussed that he felt that the consistent media attention it received breached their privacy. The couple moved into a £3 million home in London together in 2023. 144 They became engaged in December 2024. 145 146 After feeling dependent on alcohol in social situations, he has been a teetotaler since participating in Dry January in 2022. 147 In October 2024, Holland launched Barrow, a low-alcohol beer brand. 148 149 150 Holland stated in a 2025 interview that he has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Zendaya Marie Stoermer Coleman, /Zendai/Zendai2 born September 1, 1996, is an American actress and singer. The recipient of numerous accolades, including 2 Primetime Emmy Awards and a Golden Globe Award, she was named by Time as one of the 100 most influential people in the world in 2022. Her films as a leading actress have grossed over $3.9 billion worldwide. Born in Oakland, California, Zendaya began her career as a child model and backup dancer before gaining prominence for her role as Rocky Blue on the Disney Channel sitcom Shake It Up, 2010 to 2013. She then starred in and produced the channel's sitcom KC Undercover, 2015 to 2018. Zendaya made her feature film debut as Michelle in the Marvel Cinematic Universe film Spider-Man: Homecoming, 2017. She reprised her role in its sequels Far From Home, 2019, and No Way Home, 2021, both of which grossed over $1 billion worldwide. For her performance as Rue Bennett, a struggling drug-addicted teenager, in the HBO teen drama series Euphoria, 2019, present, Zendaya won 2 Primetime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, becoming the youngest performer to win the category, as well as a Golden Globe Award. Zendaya's other film roles include the musical The Greatest Showman, 2017, the romantic dramas Malcolm and Marie, 2021, and Challengers, 2024, and Chani in the science fiction films Dune, 2021, and Dune, Part 2, 2024. In 2011, she released the singles Swag It Out and Watch Me, the latter a collaboration with Bella Thorne. Signed to Hollywood Records, she released her debut studio album, titled Zendaya, 2013, to moderate success. Its lead single, Replay, peaked within the top 40 of the US Billboard 200. Her Zac Efron collaboration, Rewrite the Stars, from The Greatest Showman soundtrack, 2017, reached the top 20 of several record charts and has received multi-platinum sales certifications globally. She has also written and performed several songs for Euphoria. Early life and acting background. I knew I wanted to be an entertainer. I could see myself singing and dancing in front of millions of people. Zendaya in her book Between You and Me, 2013, 3. Zendaya Marie Stoermer Coleman was born in Oakland, California, on September 1, 1996. 4-5 Her name derives from the Shona name Tende, meaning to give thanks. 6 Both of Zendaya's parents were teachers. 7 Her father, Kazembe Ajima Coleman, is African American, with Nigerian ancestry. 8 And her mother, Claire Stoermer, has German and Scottish ancestry. 9 She has 5 older half-siblings from her father's previous relationships. 10 Zendaya attended Fruitvale Elementary School, where her mother taught. 11 She was described as energetic and outgoing at home but reserved and shy at school. At the end of the school year, her parents had her repeat kindergarten to help build her confidence. 5 Because of her father's passion for basketball, Zendaya's parents enrolled her in a local basketball team. After losing interest in the sport, she switched to soccer and track, but both also turned out to be unsuccessful. 12 Around this time, Zendaya, aged 6, and 2 of her friends performed a play at school for Black History Month. 13 At 8 years old, she joined a hip-hop dance group called Future Shock Oakland, where she performed for 3 years. 14-15 She also spent 2 years dancing hula with the Academy of Hawaiian Arts. 16-17 After deciding to pursue acting, Zendaya assisted her mother, who spent the summer working as a house manager, at the California Shakespeare Theater. 14 There, she assisted patrons with their seats and sold fundraising tickets, but her primary interest was in the theatrical performances. 11-18 Her first acting role was as a silkworm in her school's production of James and the Giant Peach. 14 Aged 11, she began attending Oakland School for the Arts. 11 And, while still a student, was cast in several roles in area theaters. At the Berkeley Playhouse, Zendaya portrayed Little T.I. Mound in Once on This Island, and in TheaterWorks' Palo Alto production of Caroline, or Change, she played Jo, a role originally written for a male performer. 19. By 6th grade, Zendaya played Lady Anne in Richard III and Celia in As You Like It and took part in a production of Twelfth Night. 2021 When Zendaya was in 7th grade, she and her father relocated to a small apartment in downtown Los Angeles. Her mother continued to stay in Oakland. 22-9 Retrospectively, she said of the experience that her father knew what I wanted more than anything in the world, though she admitted she missed a lot of fun things while I was pursuing my dreams and it was difficult not being able to be with my mom and my dog. 22 In 2015, she graduated from Oak Park High School. 23-11 Career. 2009 to 2016, early recognition with Shake It Up and musical ventures. Zendaya began her career working as a fashion model for Macy's, Mervyn's, and Old Navy, and also appeared as a backup dancer in a Sears commercial with Disney star Selena Gomez. 24/25 In 2009, she was a featured performer in the Kidz Bop music video for its cover of the song Hot and Cold by Katy Perry. 26 In November 2009, Zendaya was among 200 girls who auditioned for the Disney Channel sitcom Shake It Up, which follows two teenage friends who get their big break on the local dance show Shake It Up Chicago. 27 She originally auditioned for the role of Cease Jones, which ultimately went to her co-star Bella Thorne. Instead, Zendaya was cast as Rocky Blue. 28 Judy Taylor, Senior Vice President of Disney Channel, described Zendaya as completely engaging with a great presence, while saying that Thorne had high energy and that viewers would want to get to know her better the instant you meet her. 29. A young, calm Zendaya sitting on a chair, holding a microphone in her right hand. She has long, dark hair styled in loose waves and is wearing a colorful sleeveless top with a pink vest over it. Zendaya hosting the Make Your Mark, Ultimate Dance-Off event in 2011. The first season of Shake It Up premiered on November 7, 2010, and was watched by 6.2 million viewers, becoming Disney Channel's second highest rated premiere in its history. 30 In 2011, Zendaya released Swag It Out, a promotional independent single, and starred in the book trailer for From Bad to Cursed by Katie Allender. 31-32 That same year, she performed the single Watch Me with Thorne, which peaked at number 86 on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart. 33 In 2011, Target stores launched a clothing line inspired by the outfits worn by Zendaya and other cast members of Shake It Up. 34 The second season of Shake It Up premiered in September 2011. 35 Zendaya made her film debut as an aspiring magazine editor in Frenemies, 2012, a Disney Channel original movie. 36-37 In February 2012, Something to Dance For was released as a promotional single for the soundtrack of the second season of Shake It Up. In October 2012, Shake It Up's third and final season premiered. 38-39 That year, she signed with Hollywood Records. 40 Zendaya was later announced as one of the celebrity contestants